Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Keck back here with another Animal Jam video, guys, and in today's video, guys, we're going to be talking about Halloween items on Animal Jam. So in specific, Halloween items that have kind of just became rare over the years, and then items that were kind of sold during Halloween and were glitched in one way or another. Kind of did this back last year for Christmas about Jamal-Day items that got glitched and were actually super rare at some point, and then items that became rare, and I figured I'd do it again for this Halloween as well, because there is a lot of interesting items and trivia that you might not know about Halloween items. Before we do get into that though, I want to quickly talk about today's giveaway, which is for this blue headdress here. As you can see, make sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications on, drop a like on the video, as well as drop a comment down below letting me know what you thought of the video after you watched it, and extra entries can be found in the comments or description below. So I guess we'll just get started here. So it's going to be split up into two divisions here. First of all, clothing items, I guess, 3 specific clothing items, and then we'll move on to dead items, which there's only really one Halloween den item that actually became rare anyway. So I guess we'll start off here with the beta creature. So I'll throw it on screen because fortunately I do not have one. And this item was actually released in the very first night of the Phantoms, which is what Animal Jam kind of likes to call Halloween. And I believe it was sold in the Haunted Forest Party, which is very convenient that it's on right now. It was actually sold right here in this little shop. Not this one, but this one. And it used to be actually sold right here. You would be able to pick up on the creature mask, and one of the variants was actually the beta creature. Now this was switched out very fast. I think within a few hours it got swapped out to this variant instead, which we now know it nowadays, which I do believe in the Apondale Conservation Museum right now you can actually get the creature mask. So this is the one that it got swapped out with, which is the regular version. Now a lot of people called this glitched back in the day. However, I don't think it was glitched, and the reasoning for that is because of the eye color and lip colors out of all of the other ones. There's only 3 variants now that don't have this kind of white, light blue kind of red lip color, and I heard from a grapevine, I'm not gonna say who told me and passed this information along, but I was told that its variant was changed because it could have been seen as racist. I'm not gonna get into that, I'm not gonna explain it, but that was what I was told, and honestly I didn't even think about it before I was told it, and then after it I was like, okay, that actually makes a bit more sense on why they probably changed it. But very few of people actually bought this beta creature anyway when it was in stores. Obviously this is kind of renowned to be the rarest item in the game because of that reason. You know, there's people like Snowy Claw that has one. She's like famously had one for a good few years now anyway, and you can see it on her bunny here. But the next item she also has, the beta eyeball. It's the next item we're going to be talking about, beta eyeball hat. This is probably one of my favorite items in the game. It's just the colors I think are really nice together. The pink and the purple and the white meshes quite nicely. But this item has kind of 2 origins. Nobody actually really knows for some reason. So way back in the very first night of the Phantoms, Halloween masks I believe were distributed by moderators in the game, and if you pretty much won a mini game against a moderator, they would give you a Halloween mask, and it would be at random. And one of these rare eyeball hats were being given out, and it is said that the beta eye was also being given out by these moderators here. Now as I said, there's like 2 origins because there's really no documentation to support that fact. However, a lot of people over the years say this was the case, and it makes sense because a lot of the other rare eyeball hats were also distributed this way back then, as well as every other rare Halloween mask, which we'll get into. And the other one, the other way people think it got into the game was that it was just simply sold in stores, which I don't think is the actual way that it did get into the game. And the reason I say that is because when rare Halloween masks, they weren't rare back then, they didn't have the rare tag back then, but when they were put into stores, the very first eyeball hat, which we now know is the rare eyeball hat, when it got put into stores, it was only the 10 variants. It wasn't the 11th variant, which the beta eyeball would be. And I don't think there's ever been a clothing item in the game that has surpassed the 10 variants in store that wasn't a den item anyway. And I don't think there's ever been a clothing item that has sold more than 10 variants of a certain kind of item in store. So it would be pretty particular, I guess, for them to do it for the beta eye and no other item in the entire game's history. But the rumor of it actually being sold in stores came from one person named Mimi. I do believe I mentioned them in a video a few years ago when they got hacked of their beta eye. Pretty much the rumors started with her, but the whole credibility on her saying that was purely because she had a beta eye and a beta creature, and also I think a Milky at the time. But it was later found out she didn't actually buy buy any of those items. Like she said, she bought the eye and when it first came out in stores. No, that wasn't the case. She stole it from somebody close to Abra. So she hacked one of Abra's accounts pretty much for the item. Is what I'm trying to say here. So her credibility kind of out the window. But as I said about the other, Halloween masks, because I'll kind of gloss over this because the next item is kind of more interesting than this. All the rare Halloween masks you see in game, I only have like 3 on this account because this is a random dump account. But like stuff like the mummy mask and the Medusa mask, that these are given out in adventures now. And well, even when they were gaining rare way back in like 2010, when they got re-released, obviously the worth of them just dropped to nothing because they were in stores. I think that was the very first time Alamo Jam started to see, oh, people actually are trying to develop an economy on this game, and they kind of, well, I was gonna say they kind of noticed that, but they still re-release rares all the time, so I don't really know where I was going with that point. But what I was trying to say was these used to be rare, and I do believe I mentioned in a video actually about items that used to be rare. I do think I mentioned Halloween items in that video, so a reason why I won't go too in depth. But the final item, clothing item for this section of the video anyway, is, I think I mentioned this in a video before, in a Halloween video before actually. I didn't like how the video turned out, so I deleted it. So I'm remaking it now in a better way. But the vampire mask. Now, the regular vampire mask, which I do believe might be sold in here as well. It isn't sold here right now, and it's not sold in here either. That's terrific for me, but I'll put it on screen anyway. The regular vampire mask you see in game was initially supposed to have a different variant to it, and a lot of people call it the beta vampire mask for those that do know about it. But pretty much it was similar to the default red variant. However, the red hair would have been gray, and also the bat, I believe, would also have been gray. The only similarity was like the skin, the eye, and the mouth color, I believe. And even there's like old, promotional images or concept art, supporting this fact that this item was going to be this color. And then also, I believe there was a glitch with the elephant way back then that if you put the regular Halloween mask on that, it would actually turn into this beta variant of the item. So a lot of people for a while that knew about this anyway thought, hey, there might be another beta, Halloween mask, like another extreme item that could be floating around on old accounts. However, there is some disappointing news with this. Now, for some reason, the particular vampire mask, the item changed how it worked after it came out. And the reason I say it changed because it obviously worked differently with how the item was layered when it was initially released to a couple months or years after they changed it. So pretty much this variant here, it's a recreated version of the beta Halloween mask in a modern version, I guess. I made this in Photoshop. But pretty much this would be impossible to exist in the game nowadays because even if this exact variant, somebody had it in game, it pretty much would have changed to the default red variant that I showed earlier because of how items are layered in the game. They somewhat changed it, I guess. They probably changed it for a lot of items, to be honest. Probably not just this item in particular, but this one got the short end of the stick anyway. But it changed how this item was layered. The mouth and the head color, or the hair color anyway, synced together. So pretty much they can't be two different colors anymore, like in this beta vampire mask. So pretty much this would be impossible to exist nowadays. And if somebody did have this back in the day, which was very unlikely because I don't think it ever even seen the stores. The one store image of it was a promotional image, so it probably didn't even see the light of day. But even let's say for argument's sake that somebody did buy us way back in the day and managed to get it, it would have just turned into a normal Halloween mask that is the regular variant, which is pretty unfortunate. Honestly, would have loved to see like a third, Halloween mask that's like super elusive like the other two on the list. But unfortunately for us, this no longer exists. But it is a pretty cool piece of trivia about Halloween masks nonetheless. I think it's very obscure anyway, to say the least. Okay, so I'm actually editing this part in post because I forgot these two items existed, mainly because they both don't exist in the game anymore technically, because the owners of these items actually ended up getting banned, which I have an entirely different video explaining how few of a kind items have been banned over the years, essentially because of people getting banned with them. And these two items were actually included in this video, but I figured I would mention it here as well because they are Halloween items and they're technically glitched colors of Halloween items. Now, they both presumably got into the game the same way, and that is by Alamo Jam just recovering them in these colors accidentally back when Alamo Jam recovered a lot of magenta items. And obviously the items I'm talking about here are the magenta creature mask as well as the magenta mummy mask. Now, the footage in the background is taken from an old Apari video, I think it is, where he showed off him trading for the magenta creature, and then he also showed off the player card of the person who owned the magenta mummy mask at the time, which the person he showed in the video who has the mummy mask ended up getting banned with it, but the creature mask ended up going to some guy named Nebula, which I'm pretty sure was Hyperdunk, and he ended up getting banned with it, unfortunately. But honestly, these are probably cooler to me than the even normal creature is, so it really sucks that these ended up getting banned. Really cool looking items. Honestly, really hope someday, you know, we see some of these come into the game again for the magenta stuff anyway. But yeah, as I said, editing this in post, because I forgot. But back to your regular schedule program. Now, I did talk about den items at the start here as well, and there's not many like in my Jamalade video where there was an abundance of them. There's only really one rare Halloween den item, and that is phantom rugs. And if you've been a fan of the channel, you know I'm like a obscene hoarder when it comes to these ones anyway. You know, during my time on Keko, we'll get a shot with all of them in frame here anyway, but I think this is all of them here at the start anyway. So these for some reason gained a lot of worth. You know, these were released regularly into stores I think in 2011, and they just never came back for some reason. I don't know why Almagem did that. And I believe these bottom three variants were in adventures at one point, but these two got taken out. So the only one you can obtain in adventures now is the blue one, and the rest of them have never seen any kind of re-release at all since they initially came out. So pretty much these are the main rare ones. This one's a little rarer than this one, and you know, this one is worth like nothing. I honestly know how much, I don't know how much these are worth anymore. I've had these for years now, but I know at one point this was like the second rarest den item in the game or something, the orange variant and the yellow one, as well as the green one. These ones seem to be the rarest. Anyway, explaining how they got rare. Honestly, I don't think these were even going to be rare until about like 2015, 2016, I want to say. A bunch of people started collecting them, myself included. Actually, I started collecting these way back then, and in fact, I think some of these I've had since then, just on stored accounts. But the reason why I say that is that people just started to collect them and hoard them. Now, with that, a lot of people have been banned with them over the years, making them less common and less of them in game to come by. And not to mention people hoarding them, there's a less of them to go around to people that are trading for them. So you can blame people like me, because I think at one point when there was like only maybe 7 of the orange ones in game, your boy had like 4 of them, I think. So I had like over half of them that were known about in game at some point. But the thing is, a lot of these took really hard hits in their worth, because a lot of old accounts started getting cracked and hacked, meaning a lot more of them were coming into circulation then. So nowadays, they're not even a fraction of what they used to be worth at their peak worth. But, and for me anyway, it really sucked. But either way, I like these items regardless, so I don't really care. But with that, obviously they're a lot less rare, but they're still pretty rare. I would say they're still some of the rarest den items in the entire game, so they're still pretty obscure of a rare item anyway. Matter of fact, some of you at home might actually have some of them and not even know that they're rare, so make sure to check those inventories and then pass it along in the comments so I can scoop in on them, if you get what I mean. But no, I don't think these were ever going to be rare. Like, I imagine back in the day, like some people bought some of them or the color they wanted type of thing. There'd probably be like an odd few that would just buy every variant, because, you know, that's something people do as well. But I think the main issue with why they even became rare is because most people that had them just went inactive. You know, it's just a victim of becoming rare because of the only active few in game were being traded around. I think it was always pretty known that there was a chance that a lot of them could get cracked, and that's always just been happening for the last good few years on the game when it comes to phantom rugs. So unfortunately for phantom rug owners, myself included, it's always going to take a hard hit. But with cracking in general, you know, it's not really the case for stuff like the beta creature and the beta eye. The beta creature mainly because like very few people bought it. As I said, there was like maybe 4 or 5 of them in the game at most at one time. But with stuff like the beta eye, a very talented player known as Abracadabra Alakazam, who always sneaks his way into these videos nowadays somehow, he recuperated all of the beta eyes. I probably should have mentioned that at the start, but he like hacked a bunch of people for these. So I think at one time he had 15, and then they just kind of got dispersed out. I don't know if he traded them out or gave them out or what, but that's kind of how that works. And all honesty, beta eyes probably still would have been rare. I just don't think as rare as they ended up becoming. But regardless, I figured it was worth mentioning near the end because I didn't want to leave it out. But yeah, with that, that's pretty much it. I will have another video in probably 2 days. I'm recording this at the start of October, so this video will probably go at near the end on the 29th. There is going to be a Halloween special about F-Man, Abra, as I mentioned earlier. So I do encourage you all to check that out because it is a big one, and it's a juicy one anyway. So I encourage you to guys to watch that. But yeah, we'll wrap up the video here though. Make sure to subscribe with notifications on if you guys do want to be notified on future videos, as well as videos just like this one. Make sure to leave a like on it if you did enjoy, and do let me know what you thought of it in the comment section below. What was your favorite item talked about in this video? Personally, gotta say the eye, I guess. Phantom Rug is a close second though. But let me know what you guys think, and I will catch you guys in the next one.